This is going to be a very quick introduction to the theory of how libraries are organized. Classification is basically the process of grouping things that are alike in significant ways together. Science has lots of different classification systems, especially for animals and plants, where it looks at characteristics something has or doesn't have. It can be argued that intelligence is basically this ability to make such distinctions. And we know that when we learn things, we store them in our brains in literal physical places with labels of our own making. They know this because they have stroke patients who have had parts of the brain destroyed such that they can't identify any vegetable. But if that person knew that a tomato was not technically a vegetable, was a fruit, and their fruit list was intact, they could identify a banana and an apple, then they can identify a tomato. But if they thought a tomato was a vegetable and the vegetable list was gone, then they can't identify it. So to classify is very human, and we do it literally in our brains. So what's the best way to sort a big pile of books? By color? By height and size? No, what libraries do is they sort books and classify them looking at their aboutness to find that needle in a haystack. The two most popular systems are Dewey and Library of Congress. Dewey Decimal System is one that we use, as do most school and public libraries, and it has 10 basic categories that all books can be placed in. The Library of Congress you're going to learn when you go to university, and that's 21 basic categories. This is the graphic in our library, should be very familiar to you, and these are the 10 basic categories. And each category can be broken down to 10 subcategories, and each subcategory can be broken down, and it goes on, down to a greater detail. So when you pick up a book and you say it's about horses, you do have to ask yourself, what about horses is this book? Is it horse anatomy? Well, that's science. Is it horse breeding? Well, that's considered technology. Horse racing? Sports. And the spine label, the number on the spine label is like its mailing address. It shows you where that book lives on the shelf. If you think you know a Dewey number, you say, oh, I know AIDS, it's going to be in the 600s under diseases and technology. Maybe you need to use the catalog and search for AIDS because AIDS is also considered a social problem, and it will be found in the social sciences in the 300s. What Dewey really got wrong was literature. He classified literature by an author's nationality and time period. So if you wanted to read a book by Roald Dahl, you'd have to know his nationality and when he wrote the books, which is why most libraries just pull out all those novels into a separate collection called fiction and sort by author's last name. It's so much easier. This is a map of our upstairs and downstairs. You know the middle school zone, and I hope you have gone over and looked at the high school hot reads because that's similar. It's all those multiple copy books that the high schoolers read. And downstairs is where we have our world languages and our graphic books. And then we have these other smaller collections and bins around the library. If you've never noticed them, ask us. We'll point out where they are. In the middle school reading zone, we have had fiction, and now we've just started a series section to help you find the series books you really want to read and the sequels in those. In the nonfiction section in the middle school, if you note that Dewey number, you perhaps want to check in the main collection because you'll find more books on the same topic there. A current hot topic for librarians is whether one should just totally get rid of Dewey and just genreify the whole library, which means taking all the books and resorting them using some system that we come up with ourselves. I'm not quite convinced about this. There are a lot of questions to ask, like, well, how many genres and how do you define them? And what if a book belongs to 2 genres? So anyway, come and talk to me if you have any opinions on this because librarians talk about it all the time. Here's a very cool nonfiction genre map I found online, which, if you were going to ditch Dewey, might be a way to do it. We do have links to the genres for the browsing collection, those multiple copies in the middle school zone on the home page of Destiny. But remember, you always can search the subject heading, search the catalog, and you can find genres in that way also. And Goodreads is an excellent place to practice your own classification skills. Make up your own system. Call your bookshelves whatever you want. It's wonderful. I love looking at people's Goodreads shelves for that very reason. So anyway, happy sorting, and note you can find these slides online in case you want to go through them more slowly. Thanks.